As the flames closed in on my childhood friend, he calmly turned his gaze toward where I stood. I knew it then, he had been reborn too. At that moment, rows of streaming comments flashed before my eyes. "Ugh, here comes the simp side character to save the male lead again." After the female supporting character rescues the male lead from his severe third-degree burns and gets sent to the countryside, the male lead can then introduce the impoverished female lead to her family as a fake heiress. The childhood friends to lovers trope is just too sweet. The precious female lead just wants a home. The reborn male lead definitely won't let the supporting female character have another chance to return and threaten her. Oh, really? Well, what if in this life, it's the childhood friend who suffers the severe burns, and not me? 1. The roaring fire crackled and popped. The scorching, thick smoke made it hard to breathe. "Coco, don't worry about me, run." The familiar scene and sound sent a jolt through my entire body. Am I not dead? I died from the persecution by my childhood friend and the fake heiress, perishing in a once-in-a-century snowstorm. It's okay, even if I die here, it's fine, as long as you live well, Coco. You are the kindest and most innocent girl I have ever met. I truly wish I could meet you earlier in our next life, so I could protect you. Such deep yet sorrowful words would make anyone hesitate to walk away. In my past life, I was deceived by these very words, but in this life, my heart is colder than a sword tempered for 16 years in the Kunlun Mountains. I looked up and met the gaze of my childhood friend, when Hergue, whose face was pitilessly handsome, his expression seemed one of fear and alarm, yet his eyes held a calm and composed steadiness. With just that one glance, I knew he had been reborn too. I curled my lip, about to speak, when rows of bullet comments flashed before my eyes. LOL. Here comes the simp side character to save the male lead again. After the female supporting character rescues the male lead from his severe third-degree burns and gets sent to the countryside, the male lead can then introduce the impoverished female lead to her family as a fake heiress. The childhood friends to lovers trope is just too sweet. The precious female lead just wants a home. The reborn male lead definitely won't let the supporting female character have another chance to return and threaten her. Oh, how interesting. Not only was I reborn, but I could also see these bizarre bullet comments. This second life just got a whole lot more interesting. 2. Just like in my past life. I said nervously, "Brother Hergue, I won't let you die." A mocking curve touched when Hergue's lips, but just as his smile began to form, I spoke up again. "Wait here. I'm going to call the police and get help. Brother Hergue, wait for me." With that, I turned and ran. I ran so frantically that I nearly stumbled and fell. It wasn't to save him in a hurry, but because the fire would spread quickly, the surrounding area was full of dry trees, making it easy for the flames to grow out of control, even if the great fire of my past life didn't reach the surroundings. But I couldn't take that gamble. My life is far too precious. I must stay alive and well until those wretched people are dead. When Hergue only realized I wasn't joking after watching me run a long way off, he began to cry out for help. "Help me, Song Zhaoke, hurry up and save me. I'm really going to burn to death." It was only upon hearing this that I finally stopped in my tracks. A flash of hope lit up his eyes, but when he saw me just standing there with my arms crossed, watching him lazily, he grew genuinely frantic. He began to save himself, rushing towards the perimeter of the fire in a desperate attempt to escape. But that idiot had been posturing for too long. The fire was far more intense than he had imagined. To make the fire spread faster and ensure I was burned alive, he had deliberately sent the nanny away and told the security guards there would be fireworks to keep them from interfering. Well, it serves him right. He's reaping what he sowed. The barrage exploded. Is this supporting female character insane? Why isn't she saving the male lead? Holy crap, is the male lead this handsome going to be sacrificed as soon as he appears? No way, he's the male lead, the chosen one. Others might die, but he'll at most get some burns and then come back even more handsome after plastic surgery. That's the standard trope. A faint smile played on my lips. I don't know who sent these barrage comments, but I know they're all idiots. When Hergue can't get plastic surgery because he has a colloid-prone constitution. Besides, the Wen family doesn't have the same clout as mine. It's impossible, utterly impossible, for him to get a fresh start. I said it, and not even Jesus could change my mind. 5 minutes later, A passing neighbor heard cries for help and urgently called the police and an ambulance. Watching from a distance as he was lifted onto a stretcher, the fact that the sheet wasn't pulled over his face told me this bastard wasn't going to die that easily. Well, that's a relief. 3. After a night of emergency treatment and surgery, when Hague regained consciousness, the long legs he was once so proud of had been amputated, and his once pillously handsome face was now a ruin, as if ravaged by fire. The air was thick with the smell of burnt flesh, when Hague's parents, standing by his side, were on the verge of collapsing from grief. After all, he was their only son. The moment my parents and I stepped into the hospital room, when Hague, whose pain had long since numbed him into despair, felt a torrent of fury blaze in his eyes as he cried out, "Song Zhaoke, after all I've done for you, how could you just stand by and watch me die? Do you even know, my leg was amputated, I'll never walk again, my body is covered in third-degree burns. I'm a cripple now, you could have saved me with a single outstretched hand. Why were you so cruel? Why did you have to destroy me? What did I ever do to you? Are you happy now? Are you satisfied, seeing me like this?" The hysterical accusations made him sound like a bitter, scorned woman. Where's the composure of a refined gentleman now? Even in my past life, when I ended up like this, I never lost my dignity so completely. I pursed my lips, putting on a pitiful and wronged act. "Brother Hague, how could you wrong me like this? Everyone knows I listened to you more than anyone. You were the one who started the fire. You drew a big circle with gasoline and said you were going to perform a magic trick for me. I thought you were doing another magic act, and you kept desperately telling me to leave, so I thought it was all part of the show. That's why I obediently walked away." Mrs. Wen wiped her tears and complained, "It's fine that you left, but you should have called the police. How could you just stand by and watch him get burned like that in the fire?" I spread my hands even more innocently. "I didn't leave, I was just over here watching Brother Hague's performance." Mrs. Wen's face went pale with anger. She was about to point at me when Mr. Wen stopped her, trying to calm her down. "Let it go, what's done is done. It was indeed Hague who started the fire, and he really was about to leave Zhaoke. She's only 12. So it's understandable she thought he was performing a magic trick." My parents had already asked me about the situation on their way over. I suppose you could say I'm involved, but to pin the blame on me as the main culprit is a bit much. Seizing the moment, my mother then said, "We're so sorry about this. It's our fault for always spoiling Coco. I've already spoken to the hospital director. They're contacting the best doctors in the world to help Hague with his ongoing treatment. With today's advanced technology, prosthetics are incredibly sophisticated. He'll be back on his feet in no time. Please, don't hesitate to let us know if you need anything at all." In your dreams, in my past life, my parents spent a fortune trying to get me to walk again, but it was no use. His injuries were too severe, the amputation went all the way up to the hip, and it damaged his manhood. The only way he'll have an heir now is if his wife steps out on him. 4. Dad gave Uncle Wen a gentle pat on the shoulder and let out a sigh. "I know children are our greatest treasure. I understand exactly how you must be feeling. No matter how tough things get, life goes on. Once you've had some time to recover, we can work on the wind power project together. The approval documents have all come through." Uncle Wen and Aunt Wen's expressions immediately brightened. They had been putting on a show, just waiting for my father to say those very words. After all, their son's ruin was a fact, and he brought it on himself. Coming after me was pointless. Better to secure a multi-billion-dollar partnership instead. Uncle Wen nodded. "You're right, life must go on." When Hague had thought his parents would get justice for him and make me pay dearly, instead, he found they were just using him as a bargaining chip. His face flushed crimson with rage, and he was just about to curse me. I leaned in and whispered a taunt right by his ear. "Brother Hague, everything I just said was a lie for their benefit. I know it wasn't magic, and I deliberately didn't save you. Don't even dream about a high-tech prosthetic. That ruined face of yours is yours for life. I was the one who destroyed you, and this is only the beginning." The impact of those words was devastating. So devastating that only after I hypocritically tucked him in did I finally unleash a torrent of hysterical curses. "Song Zhaoke, you bitch, you monster, Mom, Dad, she just admitted it. It was all on purpose. She wanted to ruin me. No. She wanted to kill me, Mom, Dad, you have to make her pay, you have to end her. The words were left hanging. Uncle Wen cut in angrily. Wen He, haven't you caused enough trouble? You're still trying to frame Zhaoke. I told you not to play with fire. And you even told the security it was just fireworks so they'd look the other way. You brought all of this on yourself. It's a miracle Zhaoke is unharmed. If anything had happened to her, your life wouldn't have been enough to pay for it. When He was so enraged he coughed up blood. Doctors and nurses rushed him to the operating room for emergency treatment. The barrage of comments was also going wild. Holy crap, the female supporting character has truly lost it, absolutely lost her mind. Did the female supporting character also get reborn? Her moves are ruthless, and her words cut straight to the heart. The poor male lead looks like he's about to be played to death by her, honestly. The crazy female antagonist is kind of a vibe. The male lead wanted her dead anyway, so her turning the tables on him is only fair. Haha, that's a pretty interesting way of looking at it. A faint smile played on my lips. Of course it's interesting, especially compared to the hypocritical, nice guy male lead and the female lead who only knows how to play the delicate, pitiful White Lotus victim. Villainesses like me are the real fun. Cross me, and I'll take out two without a second thought. Don't you dare try to use morality to guilt-trip me. A demon clawing its way out of hell has no morals to begin with. 5. The National Wind Power Project is a massive, lucrative pie. It was so tempting that Uncle Wen and Aunt Wen quickly forgot all about Wen He, who was still lying in the hospital, and I, the villainess, under the pretense of caring for him, went to the hospital every day to provoke and disgust him. I would take the love letters I received and read them aloud to him. I performed my newly learned ballet dance, twirling gracefully in front of him. Dancing alone is so boring, so I brought along a handsome and gentle younger guy to dance with me. From time to time, I'd drag his old rival over for a visit. When I got first place in my grade on the high school entrance exam, I shared the good news with him right away. He couldn't take it anymore and complained to Uncle Wen and Auntie Wen, telling them not to let me come. Uncle Wen was furious and scolded him for being completely ungrateful. He said that even though I was so busy, I still made time to keep him company and even brought friends to play with him, calling him an ungrateful wretch. He ended up getting seriously depressed. I chimed in naturally. Perhaps the hospital environment isn't ideal, and that's why Hegue's recovery is slow. My family has a villa in the countryside. The scenery is beautiful, the locals are very kind, and the food is all homegrown and incredibly healthy. If we arrange for a doctor and 2 caregivers there, I'm sure his recovery would be much better than staying here. Then, we could get Hegue the most advanced prosthetic leg available. He'd be able to play basketball again. Uncle Wen nodded in agreement right away. Zhaoke really is thoughtful. We are indeed too busy to spend time with him, and so it was decided. That very afternoon, he was driven to the countryside by the chauffeur. He protested, he made a scene, and even threatened to go on a hunger strike. But what good did it do him in the end? Just bundle him up and toss him in the car. He doesn't even have the strength to resist. The barrage of comments lit up. This supporting female character is such a venomous witch. She's so ruthless. Poor male lead. Look what she's done to him. This plot feels so familiar. Is the supporting female character planning to do everything the male lead did to her, right back at him? Who says the supporting female character has to just wait around to die? Her fighting back is pretty damn satisfying too. What if the supporting female character ditches the male lead and picks a cute young guy to raise as her own loyal puppy? Now that's a vibe. Could anyone really be more handsome than the male lead? He's supposed to be the most handsome one, but honestly, the main villain, Lin Mo, seems to be just as good looking. The catch is, Lin Mo's looks are matched only by his ruthlessness. He's completely cut off from love and emotion. If the supporting female character and the main villain got together, the end of the world would be just around the corner. 6. Lin Mo. I never heard a single thing about him in my past life. Then again, in my past life. That bastard when Hegue fed me neurotoxic drugs that drove me completely insane. It took me another half a year of pleading to finally get my parents to agree to send me to the countryside to recuperate, to make my parents forget me completely. They even brought a fake heiress into the house to take my place, and mixed pig feed into my food to make me as fat as a pig. The nanny tasked with caring for me, under his orders, subjected me to all kinds of abuse. in the end. I died on my 16th birthday, during a once-in-a-century snowstorm. My parents were coming to celebrate my birthday with me, but their car broke down halfway, when Hergue and the fake heiress arrived first, dragged me out of the house in my pajamas, and forced me to crawl on all fours like a dog to find my parents. The wind was biting, and snow swirled through the air, but none of it was as painful as their humiliation and torment. You fat pig, didn't you want to see your mommy and daddy? Then hurry up and crawl. Gooey gooey, your sister smells awful, it's disgusting. When Hergue took the leather whip and lashed it hard against my body. You hear me, you fat pig, crawl faster for me. Your stench is bothering Ruru. Why don't you take a look in the mirror? Do you really think someone like you is worthy of me now, and you still have the nerve to insist on marrying me? You were the one who charged into the fire to save me. I told you to leave, but you idiot just wouldn't listen. You had to run in and rescue me, but that whole thing was a trap I set up. I wanted you dead. It's your own fault for being a girl. Yet having parents who adored you so much. I'm a boy and so clever, but mom and dad never praised me once. It's not fair, it's just not fair, so, it's better if you're gone. All because of a reason that absurd. That's how I ended up tortured, abused, and killed by them. I was so close to seeing my parents again. I was so close to making it out alive. If this world is so unjust to good people, why should I show it any mercy? To hell with all of you. It's easy to convince Uncle Wen and Auntie when to adopt a little boy. All you need to do is get teary-eyed and say you miss Brother Hergue. Tell them you were bullied by some thugs on the street, and a boy who looked just like Brother Hergue saved you. Then, just show a bit of admiration and affection. They'll be the ones to suggest adopting Lin Mo, after all. Their long-standing wish has been to marry into our family. That way, it would be easier for them to take over the family fortune once the line dies out. The real challenge, however, was convincing Lin Mo to leave his kind foster parents and come with me. He raised an eyebrow and scoffed. Am I out of my mind? I've finally found kind and gentle parents who want to adopt me. Why on earth would I go with you? Money. Over the years, plenty of wealthy couples have wanted to adopt me. I never went with any of them, and you're just a kid. Don't bother me unless it's important. I'm not going with you. 7. So, right in front of him, I gave the parents who were about to adopt him a suitcase full of money, 500,000 yuan. I smiled and said, Uncle, Auntie, please give up on adopting Brother Lin Mo. I just lost my own brother, and he looks so much like him. I want to take him home with me. You can use this money to improve your lives, or to adopt another child. Please believe me, I can absolutely provide a better living environment for Brother Lin Mo. No adult would ever turn it down. A kind-hearted person would think about providing a better life and future for him. A selfish person would think that with that 500,000, they could adopt any child they wanted, or even pursue IVF. Lin Mo watched helplessly as his adoptive parents walked away with the money. His eyes bloodshot. He grabbed me by the collar and snarled, "What the hell do you want? Don't think for a second I'll go with you. Plenty of people want to adopt me." A smile touched my lips, my eyes crinkling at the corners. "Don't worry, I have plenty of money and time to spare for you." He was just a 14-year-old boy back then, not nearly as malicious as the barrage of comments made him out to be. He said through gritted teeth, "Aren't you afraid I'll get my revenge? That I'll turn your whole world upside down?" The first two families that took me in, one died in a car crash, the other perished in a house fire, wiped out, every last one of them. My smile grew even brighter. "I know, and I know you were the one who did it. After the first family adopted you, they had twins, they beat you every day, locked you in the dog pen. You were the one who tampered with the car's brakes. The man from the second household was a pervert. He tried to assault you and treated you like property. You burned it all to the ground." He let go of my collar, his expression cold and complicated. "You knew all along." He adjusted his clothes with an air of indifference. "Of course, you were just protecting yourself, compared to me, who had to watch my childhood friend suffer 6-degree burns in a fire and lose both legs at the hip. You're still quite kind. Believe me, we're the same kind of people. We make perfectly good demons. There's no need to try being human. Next time you want to destroy the world, I'll bring the matches." Lin Mo took a few steps back. "You're insane, a complete lunatic." I took 2 steps forward, lifted my foot to tilt his chin up, and smiled with pure, radiant malice. "I'll send someone to fetch you this afternoon. Be a good girl and do as you're told. Or there will be more than one Lin Mo in this world. Understood. 8. The barrage of comments lit up. Holy crap. Is the supporting female character going on a rampage? She actually dealt with the main villain in just a few sentences. This supporting female character seems even more unhinged now. I have zero doubt about her determination to destroy the world. I always thought Lin Mo, that absolute lunatic, was completely unchecked. Turns out the supporting female character just died too early. Ha ha ha, the main villain is completely wrapped around her little finger. It's kind of adorable, actually. Are you insane? This is Lin Mo we're talking about. After his adoptive parents were beaten to death by the demolition crew, he went completely dark. He didn't just take out all 32 members of that crew, he brought down the entire listed corporation and every corrupt official involved. Over 100 officials were formally censured by the provincial government. I mean, Lin Mo was easier to handle than I expected. Turns out it's because he hadn't turned to the dark side yet. I just got lucky. But he's rotten to the core. No matter how good he seems, there's a limit to it. 3 days later, Lin Mo was officially adopted by the Wen family. He was given the new name Wen Chengxiu. It carries the meaning of being a man of his word and a true gentleman. I was the one who chose the name. Everyone thought it was my heartfelt wish for his future. I was actually mocking him. All that talk about being a man of his word and a paragon of virtue is utterly laughable. He must have understood, which is why the look he gave me was so complicated. How could my childhood friend, Wen He, not know about such momentous, joyous news? I deliberately picked a bright, sunny day to take Wen Chengxiu to the countryside to find him. It was a scorching summer day, the hottest part of the afternoon at 2 o'clock. A wave of heat hit me the moment I opened the car door, yet there he was. Sitting in the yard, basking in the sun, his skin was deeply tanned, marked with gruesome wounds. My childhood friend, who had grown unnaturally fat, it was obvious he'd been eating pig feed. He was even more repulsive than I had been in my past life. At least back then, my parents would call me from time to time, and the nanny didn't dare go too far. When he saw me, he angrily tried to get up from his chair to hit me. He ended up falling flat on the ground, howling in pain from the burn. I smiled and said, "Brother He, you're too kind. You don't need to perform such a grand bow outside of the New Year or festivals." As I spoke, I put my arm around Wen Chengxiu, who was holding an umbrella for me, and introduced him. "Brother He, let me introduce you. This is Wen Chengxiu, your younger brother, and my new childhood friend." Then, turning to Wen Chengxiu, she said, "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and greet your senior. If you don't behave, you'll end up just like him." Wen Chengxiu swallowed hard, saying nothing. "Bro, hey." The barrage chat absolutely lost it. LMAO, I'm dying. The big bad is totally shook by the supporting female character's move. That greeting to the senior was absolutely priceless. The supporting female character is hilarious. Poor male lead. He should be the celebrated, envied business prodigy of the era right now, a once-in-a-century talent like Wen He. Instead, he's lying there like a pig, filthy and stinking. Ruined. Completely ruined. I've figured it out. The supporting female character's favorite tactic is to destroy someone both physically and mentally. The villain beside her is trembling in fear right now. 9. I glanced at Wen Chengxiu beside me. He wasn't trembling in fear at all. It was just the sweltering heat that had beads of sweat forming on his forehead. The veins on his hand, gripping the parasol, stood out. But that was simply from holding on tight so it wouldn't blow away in the wind. Well, I have to say, he's genuinely drop-dead gorgeous, especially when you see him next to my childhood friend who's wailing and cursing at me from the floor. He's absolutely god-tier handsome. My childhood friend was so furious with me that he crawled over from the floor, trying to grab my leg. The moment he made contact, I kicked him straight out, sending him flying 2 meters back. His agonized scream echoed through the entire villa. Back then, for the sake of peace and quiet, I deliberately chose a rather remote spot, so there were absolutely no neighbors around. The nanny, who was taking an afternoon nap, was startled awake by his voice. She immediately cursed, "You damned beast, if you bark again, I'll kill you." So, my childhood friend immediately shut up. "See, I'm just too kind and gentle. My words don't carry as much weight as the nanny's." High school life was particularly interesting. watching Wen Changshu strut around like a peacock. Being all gentle and chivalrous to the children of the powerful, he's trying to build his own network and influence to rival me, or perhaps to break free from my control. While he's basking in the limelight, I used the cheat code of my past life memories to propel my parents' business straight to the top of the industry. That wasn't enough, I pushed it right to the absolute peak of the domestic pyramid. All the connections and resources he painstakingly cultivated have to respectfully address me as Sis Ku in my presence. He refused to accept defeat and started his own business. With the help of the bullet comments, even though I didn't know the plot, I could still figure out what he was up to. So when he started the business, I offered to invest, but he was reluctant at first. So, just as he was on the verge of success, I sabotaged it and then bought him out. He refused to believe it was a lost cause and tried several more times. It wasn't until the losses piled up and both Uncle Wen and his business partner voiced their concerns that he finally backed down. Now, he stood a full head taller than me, looking down at me from his height. Song Zhaoke, is this really necessary? I crooked a finger and smiled. I don't like it when people look down on me. So, after a moment's hesitation, he bent down, the corners of my mouth lifted in a faint smile. Still not enough, on your knees. His face was a mask of fury. Don't you dare push it, you. Before he could finish, I grabbed his chin, forcing him to look at me in an excruciatingly uncomfortable position. What exactly have I done that's so terrible? You chose to follow me back then. If it weren't for me all these years, do you really think you'd have the right to be here? Have I been too lenient with you? Is that why you've forgotten who's in charge? 10. That was a nasty thing to say. But I was genuinely furious, because I thought he was a real piece of work, the kind who'd casually ruin lives and bring about chaos. But after spending these years with me, surrounded by this simple, unconditional affection, he's completely turned over a new leaf. Now he even tags along with my parents to do charity work all the time. I am deeply dissatisfied. He licked the blood from the corner of his mouth, his expression inscrutable as he spoke. I understand. The barrage of comments lit up frantically. Friendly reminder, remember to breathe. The supporting female character has truly lost her mind. Why on earth is she trying to drive the villain insane? Her parents worked so hard to bring him back from the edge. Isn't she afraid he'll snap and come for her first? She's going to get herself killed. I think the supporting female character is playing a long game. The villain is just a pawn in her pocket, a mere plaything. Exactly. It's like she's training him like a dog. Abuse breeds loyalty, while love fosters freedom. A faint smile touched my lips, so there were some sharp minds in the comment section. The fake heiress, Ju Rowning, had finally made her appearance. As the female lead, she was stacked with every advantage: a scholarship student, stunning looks, and a sweet, coquettish voice. On her very first day at the new school, she drew a crowd of curious classmates. She was beautiful, truly beautiful. But in the eyes of the wealthy, beauty is never a scarce resource. Before I could even make a move, she took the initiative and approached Wen Changshu, gazing up at him with her big, doe-like eyes. Wen Changshu, I skipped breakfast and I'm feeling a bit lightheaded. Do you have any snacks? Could you spare some? Wen Changshu let out a derisive snort. Plenty of other students in class have food on their desks. Why did you have to come to me? She was taken aback for a moment. He Ming obviously used this excuse to cozy up for the first time and was met with a counter-question. I only started feeling hypoglycemic when I got to you. Did I cause you trouble? I'm sorry. When Changshu let out a cold, derisive snort. You're in the first row. I'm in the third. If you want water, the easiest way is to go past the teacher's desk to the fourth row. You wouldn't even pass by my seat if you were throwing out trash. Then, may I ask, why exactly would you be passing by my seat? Everyone else has food on their desks, but I don't even have a bottle of water. Besides, guys don't usually buy snacks, right? The classroom instantly erupted in laughter. Someone else chimed in. See, Brother Wen's got that charm. Even the transfer student fell for you at first sight. When Changshu let out a dismissive snort, don't bring that trash around here. It's an eyesore. Ju Sangning's tears fell instantly, and she ran out of the room, utterly humiliated. Any teenage girl would be devastated to be humiliated like that by a boy she likes. 11. The screen was flooded with comments. The villain despises this kind of fake. Delicate white lotus, it reminds him all too much of his first foster mother. I used to really like the female lead, thought she was so cute and adorable, but in the face of domineering energy and unhinged madness, being cute and acting all mo is completely useless. Okay, the villain has incredible emotional control. Honestly, half the reason he's being so vicious is because of the supporting female character. Ever since the female lead transferred in, that girl has been glaring daggers at her, practically drawing blood with her nails. The villain is basically getting revenge for her. Wait, what? The supporting female character treated the villain so horribly. Why is he helping her? Shouldn't he hate her? Anyone can tell from your comment that you've been single your whole life. The villain is rotten to the core, so he's only attracted to people who are even worse than him. Don't just see that she's bad, she's also genuinely stunning and completely unhinged. She slaps him at the drop of a hat. And have you ever seen him fight back? Seriously, he might have even enjoyed it. Me, when Changshu really didn't have to be such a creep. Ju Raoning is being bullied at school. Part of the reason is that she offended when Changshu, at least 2/3 of the girls in school have a crush on him, and the remaining third are just fooled by his top student aura. The other part of the reason is that she offended me, because I said in disgust, "She smells awful, it's disgusting." It was exactly the same words she used to humiliate me in my past life. Except back then, I was out in the heavy snow, while she was in an unfamiliar classroom. The school had plenty of influential figures, but I was at the very top of the food chain. There aren't that many truly kind people in the world. Not only would they not cross me for her sake, they'd even bully her to try and win my favor. Things like being locked in the bathroom, having mice put in my backpack, and finding my desk drawer filled with trash. Walking through school, everyone would point and whisper. In the cafeteria, the seats around me would always be empty. Compared to what she did to me in my past life, this is nowhere near enough. With my subtle encouragement, the harassment escalated from verbal humiliation to physical bullying. Every time after school, hearing the sound of her kowtowing and apologizing in the bathroom always put me in a particularly good mood. When Changshu asked me curiously, "Why not just finish her off? What's the point of this?" I casually took the handkerchief he offered and wiped my fingers clean. Of course it's fun. That's how cats play with the mice they catch. I'm bored with it now. Get a few thugs to rough him up, just don't kill him. I still have big plans for him. He's very clever. Is this for me, senpai? I let out a light chuckle and praised. Yeah, don't you think they're a perfect match? When Changshu's expression was complicated. Will you treat me like this in the future, too? The corners of my mouth turned up. My eyes crinkled, sweet and innocent. If you want me to, I can do that for you. He shook his head. I don't want it. I patted his shoulder with a smile. Then be a good boy and listen. If you want the stars in the sky, I'll pluck them down for you. If you don't behave, he'll be a cautionary tale for you. He didn't say a word, only swallowing hard, but it was clear from his obedient expression. He would be very well behaved. 12. When Changshu truly lives up to being the little troublemaker I handpicked, that very night, he arranged for the local hoodlums to stage a hero saves the damsel act for her, and they even showed her a surprisingly chivalrous and considerate side. This was especially true of their leader, the guy with the bleached hair, who took her for a spin on his high-end motorcycle worth nearly $1 million. Giving her a tour of what he considered his turf, she took the initiative to add him as a friend. They say nice guys finish last. A troublemaker like Blondie is far more exciting than some boring bookworm, and ever since she got together with Blondie, the other kids at school stopped bullying her. She even thought Blondie was the secret love child of some powerful big shot. With immense influence, she was utterly, hopelessly devoted to that punk, even when he slept with other women right in front of her, even when he let his buddies have their way with her. Morals, self-respect, self-love, none of it meant a damn thing to her compared to that worthless punk. In my past life, I died for a piece of trash like that. It's absolutely pathetic. It's easier to get Ju Raoning to seduce her childhood sweetheart herself. First, get the punk hooked on gambling, deep in debt to loan sharks, and have him steal her identity to borrow another 300,000. That wasn't the punk's limit, it was the limit of her ID card. The moment the punk fled, the loan sharks came for her. She was left with only two options, either sell herself as a prostitute, or find a rich second-generation heir to swindle, and the candidate had already been picked out for her. She looked at her childhood friend, who was hideously ugly and as fat as a pig. She immediately vomited, but in the end, she still chose to seduce her childhood friend. The method of seduction was simple. She pretended to be the daughter of the country nanny who had cared for her childhood sweetheart. As the female lead, she was naturally beautiful. Compared to the other country women, she looked like an absolute goddess. To win her over, he spared no expense, gifting her dresses worth thousands and handbags costing over 10,000. His efforts finally earned him a favorable look from Ju Rowning, but Ju Rowning flat out refused to sleep with him, insisting they wait until after marriage and demanding a 5 million yuan bride price. Her goal was to scrape together the 800,000 needed to pay off the compounding interest on her loan shark debt, and then vanish. To her surprise, her childhood sweetheart took her seriously and started calling Uncle Wen and Aunt Wen, demanding to come home. They were initially against it and told him to stay put in the countryside. I said, blinking my big eyes. The doctor says he's almost fully recovered in the countryside, so we should let him come back. I've already arranged for a prosthetist. We'll have a custom one made for him. I was too young and foolish to save him back then. But now I want to make up for my mistake, Aunt Wen said with a sigh. Zhaoke, you're such a good kid. Even after all this, you still haven't forgotten He Gui. Alright, we'll listen to you and let him come back, but if he acts up and bullies you again, he'll have us to answer to. The corners of my mouth turned up. No matter how brother He Gui treats me, I could never be angry with him. When Changshu silently took a step back, he knows that the sweeter my smile, the more ruthless my strike. 13. The barrage of comments also began to heat up. Wow. The male lead is finally rushing to his doom. I used to worry the female supporting character would kill the male lead. Now I'm worried she won't kill him. What is the male lead compared to the villain? He's just extra. Exactly. I'm shipping the female supporting character and the villain. They're just too good together. Two unhinged characters. So thrilling. Don't any of you feel sorry for the female lead? She was such a pure, innocent flower, and now she's been utterly ruined. Haha, well, everyone's a villain anyway. The female supporting character is the most unhinged, turning the main antagonist into an absolute sweetheart. It's great. I love it. Can't get enough. Tell me about it. My original plan was to let Wen Changshu come back after we finished the college entrance exams, but he came back on his own initiative. What else was I supposed to do? Of course, I'll let him have his way. When He Gui stepped out of the luxury car with Ju Rowning, he was so fat he couldn't even fit in a standard wheelchair. They had to use a stretcher to get him into the villa. Ju Rowning stared at the incredibly luxurious villa, her eyes wide with awe. She introduced herself excitedly. Hello. Uncle, Auntie, I'm He Gui's girlfriend, Ju Rowning. Please, just call me Ning Ning. The fact that someone could see the good in their son was already enough to fill Uncle Wen and Auntie Wen with gratitude. He nodded immediately and said, alright, you can stay here and take care of He Gui from now on. Let me introduce you. This is Song Zhaoke, and this is Wen Changshu. Just hearing my name was enough to send Wen He Gui into a panic. His eyes bloodshot, he roared furiously, you bitch. You're not welcome in our home. Get the hell out of here. Mom, Dad, you have no idea how she's been torturing me all this time. She's a lunatic, a complete psycho. Before he could finish, Uncle Wen cut him off. Enough. If it weren't for Zhaoke talking us down, you wouldn't even be standing here right now. If we ever hear you badmouth her again, you'll have us to answer to. Also, remember that Changshu is your brother. The company will go to him in the future. But we'll set up a trust fund and properties for you, enough to last you several lifetimes. When He Gui disagreed and was about to argue, but Ju Ruhei quickly nodded in agreement. Got it, Uncle and Auntie, that's more than enough for He Gui. He really can't go out to work anyway. Auntie Wen was quite pleased with her. You're a sensible young lady. If you're willing to marry He Gui, we'll offer a dowry of 5 million, a 50 million villa in the city center, a few sports cars for you. And we'll arrange for drivers and housekeepers to be at your service, Ju Rowning said excitedly. Thank you, Auntie. Don't worry, I'll take good care of He Gui. 14. The corners of my mouth lifted in a light chuckle. Ha tilde. Then, Aunt Wen turned to look at me and asked, Zhaoke, do you have any thoughts on this? I'll go along with whatever you say. Instantly, Ju Rowning broke out in a cold sweat on her forehead. If my aunt and uncle weren't right there, he probably would have gotten down on his knees to beg me. My childhood friend was also worried I'd stop the wedding, glaring at me with pure malice. Song Zhaoke, if you dare stand in the way of me marrying Ru, I swear I'll haunt you from the grave. The corners of my mouth lifted into a bright, radiant smile. Not at all, I couldn't be happier for you. I hear the end of the month is an auspicious date. Why don't you get married a little sooner? It would set your parents' minds at ease. The suggestion was right up their alley, and they agreed on the spot. When Changshu came to see me in the evening, using studying as an excuse, he was actually just there to gossip and ask me questions. Are you planning to pull a major stunt at their wedding? I kept working on my problems, not even looking up. All right, make sure to bring all those punks over then, and have the video of their little orgy projected on the big screen. Oh, and get his prosthetic arm ready in advance. Wouldn't want him to have trouble swinging it when the time comes. Watch your strength. Don't kill him, we're not done having our fun yet. When Changshu finally asked the question he had been curious about for so long, why do you hate them both so much? They've both contracted a severe sexually transmitted disease. Moreover, when He has been taking hallucinogenic drugs for a long time, even if he struggles on, he won't live for more than 2 years. Only then did I look up, letting out a soft, derisive laugh as I met his gaze. Because I have the ability to foresee both the future and the past, they hurt me in the past, so I paid them back tenfold, 100-fold. His first reaction wasn't to argue with me. Instead, he moved closer, staring straight at me. And the future? What will become of us? I pinched his chin and let out a derisive snort. You will be my utterly loyal dog, and I will become the richest woman. I will change history. The barrage of comments lit up. The supporting female lead has truly lost her mind. She actually dared to call the villain a dog. Is he going to kill her for that? The villain is absolutely loving this. Okay, he's a total freak. Please don't try to understand him with a normal person's mindset. The supporting female lead is just too good at this. She should start a masterclass. I'm begging you. Her resume can now be updated. Expert-level dog tamer. A faint smile played on my lips. He was clearly enjoying himself, even licking his lips. The sickening possessiveness in his eyes was practically overflowing. 15. When He and Ju Rowning's wedding was a very low-key affair, they just set up a single table at the villa, inviting only my parents and me, just the two families sharing a meal. That said, Ju Rowning's haute couture wedding gown was stunning. The crown on her head and the massive diamond necklace around her neck must have cost at least several million. Money's no object for them, anyway, as long as she's happy. When He was wearing a prosthetic leg, though it felt a bit awkward. Once he put on the suit, he still looked quite presentable. He knelt down on one knee, holding the ring, so overcome with emotion that tears and sniffles came all at once. Ning, I love you. You are my angel, my hope, and my salvation. I swear I will love you for the rest of my life and never betray you. Will you marry me? What a deeply moving declaration. Ju Rowning smiled beautifully, a flash of disgust passing through her eyes. I do, and right at that moment, a scene straight out of a cheesy TV drama unfolded. The punk barged in with a gang of his buddies. I object. Rowning, I forbid you to marry him. You've had 5 abortions for me. You've long been my woman. I know you're only with him to pay off the loan sharks, but I've cleared the debt now. Come with me. I promise I'll never let you suffer again. Ju Rowning felt a flicker of temptation, but glancing at the 13-carat diamond ring on her finger, she shook her head and refused. I don't love you anymore. Please don't interfere with my marriage to my husband. The blonde-haired man spat a thick glob of phlegm and cursed. Damn it, I always knew you were a vain bitch, in this life. You won't marry anyone but me. As he spoke, he looked at Wen He with a cold sneer. Ugly bastard. How do my cast-offs feel on your feet? Let me show you something else. If you still want to marry her after this, I'll have to respect you as a real man. With a snap of his fingers, the electronic screen that had been displaying their wedding photos switched to a video of Ju Rowning partying with a group of his buddies. That was all child's play. Now this is where the real fun begins. What was even more shocking were the filthy, obscene things she said, utterly vile. When Hegui's eyes instantly turned bloodshot, and he lunged forward to slap Ju Rowning twice, He cursed her furiously. You bitch, you whore, you filthy slut. He tried to blame it on some dirty STD from his old dorm days. But the truth is, he's been passed around so much he's worn out. I'm gonna beat you to death today. The blows were particularly vicious. Uncle Wen and Auntie Wen took several steps back, showing not the slightest intention of intervening. Seeing this, the thugs charged forward, grabbing Wen Hegui and beating him savagely. They went for the kill, targeting every vulnerable spot. After all, even hired goons know not to finish the job completely. After crippling them, they left with a final remark. Forget it, I don't even want this piece of trash anymore. With that, he swaggered off. Only then did they call for an ambulance. 16. After 3 hours of emergency treatment, they both survived. When Hegui's spine was fractured, both his hands were shattered, and the only thing he could move was his eyes. Ju Rowning wasn't much better off. She had a ruptured kidney, 8 broken ribs, and both her legs were destroyed, leaving her paralyzed for life. After hearing the doctor's report, Uncle Wen and Aunt Wen were quite disappointed. How is he still alive after losing so much blood and being so badly injured? So when I mentioned that the family had opened a new high-end nursing home, they volunteered to have the two of them admitted. The nursing home, built specifically for them, finally came in handy. They were locked in the same room, given only one meal a day, which Ju Rowning always ended up eating. After all, when Hegui had lost both his hands and feet, what could he possibly use to eat? The food was laced with madness-inducing drugs, compounded by daily electroconvulsive therapy. Half a month later, Ju Rowning, driven mad or perhaps simply ravenous, gouged out Wen Hegui's eyes and devoured them. When Chungshu, who had come along with me to watch the commotion, happened to witness this very scene, his face turned deathly pale, and he looked like he was about to be sick. Meanwhile, I watched with a smile, not even blinking for fear of missing a single second. So he rushed outside and proceeded to vomit violently. I followed slowly behind him, gently patting his back. The voice was gentle and caring. Hush now, don't be afraid. This won't happen if you just behave. Will you be obedient? His face was deathly pale, his entire body trembling. He said in a hoarse voice, I will be obedient. I held him in my arms with satisfaction, gently patting his back. He nestled obediently in my embrace, a slight smile playing on his lips. The barrage of comments lit up frantically. Holy crap, the villain is smiling. He was acting all along. The true hunter often appears in the guise of the prey. I'm absolutely obsessed with this unhinged pair. So crazy. I love it. Check the details. There's a mirror behind the villain. The female supporting character saw his expression all along but pretended not to notice. The more you think about it, the scarier it gets. Frankly, it's terrifying even at first glance. Story 2. I had a crush on Jiu Iheng for many years. The words I most often heard from him were, Tang Nyan, there is a distinction between men and women. Do you understand? I was unconvinced and retorted, you're my brother, isn't that okay? Jiu Iheng said, do you and I have a blood relationship? Later, the man who used to be on strict guard against me now approached step by step and cornered me, asking, sister, do you want a hug? Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. Walking alone on the road at night, I was harassed by 2 men. In self-defense, I sent them to the police station. Then, I skillfully dialed a number. Before the other side could speak, I said, Aunt Jiang, I'm in the police station again. Please come and pick me up. A cold and magnetic male voice came from the other end of the phone. Wait for me. I'll be there right away. Hearing this voice, I was immediately stunned. I looked at the contact name again, Aunt Jiang. I didn't dial the wrong number. Then why did Jiu Iheng answer the phone? When did he come back? Brother, yeah, don't be afraid, yeah. I'm not afraid. I went to the police station twice in one day. I'm already familiar with the process. During the taking of the statement, the policewoman who was familiar with me tapped my forehead and said, What did I tell you before? Go easy on them. I showed the scratch marks on my neck and said, See, it was self-defense. They even tried to strangle me. Seeing my wound, the policewoman immediately changed her tune and said, You were still too gentle. Next time, be more forceful. Before she could finish the word forceful, the glass door was pushed open, and everyone subconsciously turned to take a look. At this look, Their eyes were fixed. A tall and upright man walked in. He was wearing a suit with buttons neatly fastened. He should have rushed here right after coming from a formal occasion. He was wearing a pair of silver-rimmed glasses, exuding an aura of being highly educated and intelligent, with his deep and regular facial features and those indifferent eyes when looking at people. The oppressive feeling of a person in a superior position came towards us, but this oppression disappeared completely when he caught sight of me. Jiu Ihung was here. He walked over, learned about the situation, thanked the policewoman who had taken care of me, and then looked up at me and said, "Tang Nyan, let's go home." His voice was low and magnetic. I vaguely heard the wild thumping of my own heartbeat. When we got home, I obediently followed behind Jiu Ihung. In the past, I would definitely act coquettishly with him and then chatter on about a lot of boring things, making him look at me with a helpless expression, handing me water and asking me to take a break and talk later. But this time, I had a lot of things hidden from him, and I was a bit torn. However, Jiu Ihung didn't give me time to be torn. He directly pressed me to sit on the sofa and then brought the first aid kit over, disinfect it first, and then apply the white ointment. I secretly looked up at his expression. It wasn't good, so, where Jiu Ihung couldn't see, I pinched my thigh hard, and tears instantly welled up in my eyes due to the pain. "Brother, can you apply the medicine for me?" He didn't say whether he would help or not. He just looked at my red eyes and frowned. "Does it hurt a lot?" I nodded guiltily. I didn't speak, and he was also silent, until I turned my head and the wound on my neck was pulled. Ouch, I did it on purpose. With the remaining wetness on my eyelashes, I called him softly, "Brother." Jiu Ihung's expression was calm. He stared at me for a while before opening his mouth and saying, "Tang Nyan. There is a distinction between men and women. Do you understand?" I retorted, "Not even my brother." Jiu Ihung opened the cotton swab and the antiseptic solution, and his eyes casually swept towards me. "Brother, are you and I real siblings?" I chose to remain silent. He and I are step-siblings without any blood relationship in a reorganized family, and we're not even in the same household registration book. Now our parents are abroad, leaving only us siblings to keep each other warm. No. It should be said that I'm the one relying on him for warmth, just as well. "I don't want to be your sister either." I said harsh words, but my hand unconsciously grabbed the corner of Jiu Ihung's clothes. "Tang Nyan, isn't it a bit late for you to say this now?" I looked up at him and said directly, "Then isn't it a bit late for you to abandon me now?" Jiu Ihung looked down at his crumpled clothes corner, which was being pulled closer and closer. "Tang Nyan, this isn't appropriate." I looked at him stubbornly and didn't say anything. He sighed and compromised. Then he carefully held my chin with the crook of his thumb and forefinger, tilted it slightly to the side, dipped the cotton swab in the antiseptic solution, and gently pressed it on the wound. "Does it hurt?" "It hurts." "Did it hurt?" I didn't know. I only knew that I was very close to him now, so close that I could feel the itchiness caused by his breath falling on my neck. If someone were to look from the back, they would probably mistake it for him holding me in his arms. I hoped someone could see it. I called him instinctively. "Brother, you've been on a business trip for a month. We haven't seen each other for a month." Jiu Ihung turned his gaze to my eyes, as if trying to figure out the true meaning of my words. He probably didn't figure it out and just replied briefly, "Yeah, I know." His voice was low. After applying the medicine, I consciously explained to him, "It was an accident today." Jiu Ihung packed up the first aid kit and put it back in place. He turned back and glanced at me, asking in a light voice, "An accident of what?" "An accident that you're almost treating the police station as your home." Jiu Ihung sat down on the single sofa opposite me, took off his glasses, and placed them on the coffee table, without the obstruction of the lenses. His gaze when looking at people now seemed strong and straightforward. It seemed that the him after taking off his glasses was the real him. "Tang Nyan, do you remember what I told you before I went on a business trip?" I nodded like a little chick. "Repeat it." With a cold face, he spoke in the tone of a brother settling accounts with me. "My 3 meals and daily routine should be regular. I'm not allowed to go home after 10 o'clock at night. I'm not allowed to stick my neck out and get myself hurt." The more I spoke, the more guilty I felt, and my voice became almost inaudible towards the end. After I finished speaking, Jiu Ihung looked at me and said in a calm tone, "Did you do it?" "The first time." You were caught as a typical example for education because you didn't wear a helmet when riding a shared electric bike. The second time, with so many people passing by, you were the only girl who rushed up to fight with the domestic abuser. The third time, you helped chase a thief and fought 2 people by yourself. As he brought up more and more things, I quickly interrupted him and said, "But except for the time when I didn't wear a helmet, the other things I did were good deeds." "Yeah, you seem quite proud of it," I nodded modestly and said, "After all, they were good deeds." "Tang Nyan, do you really think you can win every time?" His words were interrupted by the ringing of the phone. When it rang for the first time, he declined the call. But the other side was persistent and called a second and third time, as if there was something urgent. I took his phone, answered it for him, and smiled at him very sweetly, saying, "Brother, you can scold me next time, there's no rush." He was amused by my words. He took the phone and then pointed at the wall behind me. "Go and reflect on your actions." "Okay, then." I pulled him and asked him to stand in front of that wall with me. Gu Yiheng looked down at me and silently asked, "What's wrong?" I tilted my face up slightly and replied in a low voice, "You stand with me." The voice on the other end of the phone was a bit loud, and I heard it. It was a woman's voice. She wasn't an assistant or a business partner. It was a woman's voice that I was completely unfamiliar with, out of the corner of my eye. I saw the smile on the corner of Gu Yiheng's lips. I stared blankly at the wall. Was he going to be in a relationship? He should have been in a relationship a long time ago. Afterward, I pretended to be casual and asked him, "Brother, are you in a relationship?" Gu Yiheng paused for a moment and then asked me in return, "Are you in a relationship?" So, he chose not to answer this question. I knew him well. Avoiding the topic meant acquiescence, getting the answer indirectly. I didn't know how to hide the sourness welling up in my heart for a moment, but in Gu Yiheng's eyes, I looked guilty. He nodded and said, "So, there is someone you like." Our eyes met, and I couldn't deny it. Gu Yiheng stretched out his palm, seemingly wanting to get my denial by pressing down on my stiff neck. I turned my head to avoid it and said, "Brother, there is a distinction between men and women." Our eyes met, and neither of us spoke first. I threw the same sentence back with emotions. I didn't know how much it hurt him. I only saw Gu Yiheng's outstretched hand slowly falling in the air. "Okay," he said. In my dream, I confessed my love to Gu Yiheng. He asked me with a cold face, "Tang Nyan, is this how I taught you?" With just one sentence from him, he could stand on the moral high ground and repeatedly lash out and tear at my self-esteem that had been lowered to the dust. It was like a nightmare. Also, anyone would feel disappointed if they found out that the sister they had taken good care of for 6 years was actually coveting them. This secret love itself was abnormal and something to be ashamed of. I wiped away my tears, went over the words I had thought up before going to bed in my mind again, and walked downstairs. Gu Yiheng was sitting on the sofa, holding a tablet and reading financial news. I walked closer. "Brother," he shifted his gaze to me, frowned, put down the tablet, and asked, "Why aren't you wearing shoes?" "I'm too lazy to put them on." I even forgot that I was still barefoot. All my thoughts were on what I was going to say next. "Brother, I'm going to move out and live on my own. Give me a reason." Gu Yiheng looked at me, then stood up, walked to the door, picked up my slippers, and walked back. He stopped in front of me, put them on. "The floor is cold in the morning." My gaze uncontrollably followed him, under the urging of Gu Yiheng's gaze. I put on the shoes and said, "I'm an adult now and want to have my own space." "Okay," he agreed after only a few seconds of silence. I had even sentimentally and naively imagined how I would refute him if he didn't agree. "I'll arrange it for you." I wanted to refuse, but he looked into my eyes and said, "Tang Nyan, don't refuse me." His voice was a bit hoarse. "Okay." I couldn't resist. I silently cursed myself for being spineless in my heart. I carried the small items that I had packed up in my room downstairs. When I passed by the balcony, I rarely saw Gu Yiheng smoking. He should be celebrating finally getting rid of me, the clingy person. Before I could leave, he waved at me and said, "Come here." He put out the cigarette, held a safety amulet in his palm, and handed it to me. "Keep it in your bag usually. Don't lose it. Also, Aunt Jiang will go and take care of you. Go to bed early and get up early, and have regular meals. These are all things you promised me. Aunt Jiang has a good eye for people. If you have someone you like," He seemed to have some difficulty saying the following words and didn't finish them, but I didn't want to listen anymore when he said the second sentence. I only asked him, "Brother, are you going to leave me alone?" Jiu Iheng looked down and met my gaze, saying, "Tang Nyan, such a thing won't happen, don't think too much." After moving out and living on my own, I busied myself with various competitions and activities. As long as I didn't have time to be idle, I wouldn't think of him. I thought this kind of life was quite good, but my best friend Lin and I thought that if I continued to be so competitive, the last bit of human touch in me would disappear. "Come on, I'll take you to have fun tonight, sister." She dragged me to a bar. The bar was very spacious. Lin and I led me to a relatively quiet booth in the corner with ease. Then, while waving at the waiter, she turned her head and shouted at me, "This is my cousin's place. Shall we have a good drink tonight?" The deafening and exciting music, the blurred and dim lights, and the clear clinking of wine glasses were very suitable for venting emotions. I nodded at Lin Nai and said, "Sure." While she went to say hello to her cousin, the bartender brought a full tray of drinks. Before he could neatly place them on the table, I picked up a glass and downed it in one gulp. Without anyone to control me, I could drink however I wanted. I didn't know how many glasses of wine I had drunk. When Lin Nai came back, a flush began to spread on my neck and face. She was speechless when she saw my drunk state. "Ms. Tang Nyan, may I ask, has it been more than 10 minutes since we came in?" My mind was clear, but my vision was blurry. The tears that I had held back for a long time couldn't stop falling now. Hey, Nyen Nyen, I'm sorry, I wasn't scolding you just now, don't cry." She was startled by my sudden tears and frantically grabbed a lot of tissues to wipe my tears. I shook my head and said, "No, it has nothing to do with you. Then the wine must be bad. I told you my cousin couldn't do anything right. The wine he sells is so bad that it can make people cry." I was amused by her and smiled through my tears. I handed her a glass of cocktail and said, "Drink with me, okay?" She shouted this word with the momentum of being ready to face death. Someone called me in the middle, and I asked Lin Nai to hang up for me. Perhaps I had held it in for too long and needed to vent it to someone. "Nai, he doesn't like me." "Phut." Lin Nai was so shocked that she choked. She suspected that there was something wrong with her ears. After she recovered, she quickly asked, "What the hell? Who do you mean doesn't like you? Wait, who do you like?" "No, how come I didn't know that you have someone you like?" I replied vaguely. "Someone I've had a crush on for 6 years." Lin Nai's perception was completely overturned. Damn, who was that guy? How could he be so capable that he could make a proud girl like Tang Nyan have a crush on him for 6 years? You've hidden it for so long. Why don't you hide it today? Hey, Nyen Nyen, if you keep drinking like this, you'll have a blackout tomorrow. The words that Lin Nai originally wanted to ask were all choked back by my bold way of drinking. In this situation, it was obvious even without thinking that the guy had broken my heart. "Nyen Nyen, there are plenty of high-quality men out there. Just find another one." Lin Nai shouted loudly. Coincidentally, at this moment, the music in the bar stopped, and Lin Nai's words echoed throughout the space. The next second, among a group of people in the booth next door, the man sitting in the center, looking casual, stood up and stared straight at me. "Tang Nyan, I don't mind being the one you like." The crowd cheered, pushing the previously cooled-down atmosphere of the bar to a climax. I heard someone calling my name and looked up half a beat later. "Who are you?" "Zheng Chengxian, the second son of the Zheng family in Nanqing Entertainment." Lin Nai had heard about it from her family and whispered beside me, "He runs a film and television company. He's just SOSO. He has a bunch of messy things going on but still speaks so proudly, as if his family has an imperial throne to inherit." "I don't know him," I said in a flat tone, having no interest in this man at all. Amid the cheering and heckling and noise of the onlookers, he walked over from the next booth and said, "It doesn't matter if you don't know me, you just need to know that I like you." During the pause while waiting for my reply, the bar became very quiet. His confident look made me feel disgusted. I avoided his gaze, stared at the bar's main door, and said words of rejection. "I don't like you." My voice wasn't loud, but it was loud enough for everyone to hear. As for the pause in the middle, it was because I saw Jiu Iheng. Jiu Iheng didn't expect that as soon as he stepped into the bar, he would see the scene of his sister confessing her love to someone. The words "like you" echoed in his ears. And the voice clearly sounded like she had just been crying. Looking up, he saw her red nose and the area around her eyes. She was crying. His sister had been bullied and made to cry. Bang! I saw Jiu Yiheng single-handedly throw Zheng Chengxian to the ground, his movements full of hostility. Did you make her cry? It was a question, but he said it in a declarative tone. No one expected that things would suddenly turn out like this. Who the hell are you hitting? Did I provoke you? Zheng Chengxian instinctively fought back, but since he didn't pay attention to physical exercise on a regular basis, he was pinned to the ground by Jiu Yiheng and couldn't move. I reacted slowly and just opened my mouth to say, "Brother." Jiu Yiheng glanced over and said, "Tang Nian, can you find someone else to like?" His tone was cold in his extreme anger. Lin Nai was stunned as she watched from the side. She had heard Tang Nian say that her stepbrother was very cold to her, so was this look of caring about his sister to the extreme called being cold? My head was about to explode when I woke up after being drunk. When I opened my eyes, I saw the familiar decoration of the room. Jiu Yiheng had brought me home. "Nian Nian, you're awake." Aunt Jiang happened to be instructed to come up and check on my situation. "Yeah," I replied in a low voice, putting my hand on my temple and massaging it continuously. Aunt Jiang handed me a glass of honey water. "Thank you, Aunt Jiang." "You don't need to thank me, thank your brother. He made it for you. He was worried about you and didn't go to the company today. He should be in the study now." Under Aunt Jiang's encouraging gaze, which was like that of someone encouraging a child, I had to nod and say, "Okay, I'll go later." "Oh, right, Nian Nian. Sir and Madam are on their way back. They said that Yu Kaifang has new dishes, and they went there directly from the airport. You and Yiheng can go there at around 6 o'clock. Aunt Jiang said. "Did they fly back suddenly just to have a meal at Yu Kaifang?" I asked. "I'm not sure about that," Aunt Jiang replied. "I got drunk and had a blackout, and now I couldn't remember what had happened after I got drunk last night at all. I sent a message to Lin Nai, but she didn't reply. She should still be asleep." I could only brace myself and knock on the door of the study. "Come in," Jiu Yiheng said. "Brother." I stood about 10 meters away from him and looked at him. "Tang Nian. Come here." Jiu Yiheng looked a bit fierce. Then, he handed me a stack of papers. It was all kinds of information about the Zheng family. I asked him in confusion, "Brother, why are you showing me this?" He precisely took out the information about Zheng Chengxian from the middle and placed it on top. Jiu Yiheng's expression wasn't good. But he was still very patient as he analyzed the current internal disputes of the Zheng family's company and the complex family relationships within the Zheng family. "For me, Tang Nian, why aren't you saying anything?" Jiu Yiheng asked. I was lowering my head and trying hard to think. "Do you really like him that much?" Jiu Yiheng asked. I realized something was wrong. "Brother, did I do something yesterday that made you misunderstand?" I asked. I opened the chat window with Lin Nai and asked for emergency help. Coincidentally, she sent over a long string of voice messages. Jiu Yiheng opposite me laughed self-deprecatingly. "FLbut, a misunderstanding." He took off his silver-framed glasses and threw them on the agawad office desk, making a slight clank sound, and messed up the tie that was neatly tied for the video conference. "It's okay. I'll still protect you even if you get married," Jiu Yiheng said. "If you don't like someone anymore, just find another one. As long as you're happy." Jiu Yiheng didn't say the following words because they revealed too much of his emotions. "Get married? Who am I going to marry?" I was stunned. I just took a nap. Why was I suddenly talking about getting married when I opened my eyes? Jiu Yiheng was so angry that he actually calmed down and reminded me, "Zheng Chengxian, you said you liked him in front of everyone yesterday, at the same time." My finger accidentally clicked on Lin Nai's last voice message. "Anyway, to sum it up, yesterday, after you got drunk, you rejected Zheng Chengxian's confession in front of everyone, and then your brother rushed up and beat him up. At the end, Lin Nai even encouraged herself." Well, I summed it up perfectly. It was on speakerphone, and everyone in the study could hear it. I was confused. Why were there two different versions of what happened at the same place with the same people? Now, I could only confess honestly, "Brother, I have a blackout when I'm drunk." Jiu Yiheng only noticed. "You rejected Zheng Chengxian." Lin Nai said I did. I paused and then explained, "Brother, I don't know this person. My head hurt." "Okay." After getting my definite answer, Gu Ehung stood up neatly, strode over, and threw that stack of materials into the shredder. It's not good to hit people. I'll make it up to him in other ways, Gu Ehung said. I was speechless for a moment and couldn't help but say, brother, are you learning face changing? The result of teasing my brother was that he started settling accounts with me. Aunt Jiang said you haven't been taking good care of your stomach recently. Tang Nian, does a stomachache feel good? You've also learned to drink excessively. Stretch out your hand. He took out a ruler. I didn't want to talk back to him, so I obediently stretched out my palm. Brother, can you hit me fewer times? I tried to plead for mercy. Tang Nian, don't act coquettishly, Gu Ehung said. Then hit me lightly. I said, if it's too light, you won't learn your lesson, Gu Ehung replied. Before he finished hitting me, Gu Ehung frowned and saw the red corners of my eyes. Does it hurt a lot? It doesn't hurt, I said. Tang Nian, you're crying, Gu Ehung said. No, I'm not, I said. I just missed his boundless indulgence too much. I was so spineless, at Yu Kaifang, besides the 4 of us in our family. There were also the Shu couple and their daughter Shu Yang having dinner together. As soon as we entered, the elders on both sides greeted each other non-stop. I was the youngest in the whole place, and I had to keep calling uncles, aunts, and elder sisters. Finally, when we could sit down, I realized the purpose of this dinner. The parents on both sides intended to matchmake Shu Yang and Gu Ehung. They were of the same age and often had contact with each other because they were in the same social circle, so they knew each other well. Listening to them list the benefits of the marriage between the 2 families, even the most delicious dishes tasted like wax to me. Is it delicious? Gu Ehung picked up a piece of boneless fish and gave it to me. It's okay, I said. We'll come again next time, Gu Ehung said. We'll see, I replied. Finally, when the dinner was over, Father Gu said it wasn't safe in the dark and asked Gu Ehung to send Shu Yang home. Shu Yang said, it's okay, uncle, I live in Jingquiyuan, it's not far from here. Jingquiyuan, it's in the same community as mine, Gu Ehung said. It's on the way anyway. He should value this blind date. No, it should be said that he valued Shu Yang, I thought self-deprecatingly. When we got downstairs in the community, I realized that not only was Shu Yang in the same community as me, but she was also in the same building. She lived on the 24th floor, and I lived on the 25th floor. The community had 1 elevator for each household, which meant that I had specially chosen a community that was the furthest away from Gu Ehung, but his future girlfriend lived downstairs from me. How ridiculous. Ding. We arrived at the 24th floor. When the elevator door opened, Shu Yang turned around and looked at Gu Ehung. Can we talk? I looked down at the time. It was 9:15 p.m. Okay. Gu Ehung agreed, watching their backs as they turned around together. I slowly reached out and pressed the door closing button. The moment the elevator slowly closed, I saw the sadness in my eyes that I couldn't hide from the rearview mirror. My chest felt more and more stuffy. It should be that the air in the elevator wasn't good. As soon as I entered the door, I couldn't hold back my tears. I trapped myself in the bathroom, and my tears fell mixed with the hot water. I didn't know how long I cried before I walked out of the bathroom. Gu Ehung was sitting on the sofa and waved at me. Come here. I was stunned and stood still in my tracks. For some reason, at this moment, Gu Ehung made me feel an inexplicable sense of danger, so he simply stood up and walked towards me. 1 step, 2 steps, the distance was unilaterally shortened, until, as long as he lowered his head slightly, he could touch my forehead. It was too close, so close that our breaths could intertwine. I took a few steps back to create some distance. Tang Nian, your eyes are all swollen from crying, Gu Ehung said. Why are you crying? He asked. Brother, why are you here with me? I choked up as soon as I opened my mouth because I had cried so much. If I'm not here with you, where else should I go? Gu Ehung asked. Go home, go to the company, or go to Shu Yang's place downstairs, I said. He retorted, is it just not okay for me to be here? Yes, I said. Gu Ehung was amused by my words and said, come on, Tang Nian, explain it to me carefully. Why can't I stay here? And why should I stay at a woman's place whom I've only had 1 meal with? What's the logic in that? He casually pulled out the chair in front of me. When the chair legs were dragged out, there was a squeak sound, and my eyelids twitched when I heard it. Surely the people downstairs could hear it. But Jiu Yiheng didn't care at all. I didn't know what Xu Yang had talked to him about, which turned his usual indulgence towards me into the oppression I was facing now. You're going to have a fiancé, I said. She won't be my fiancé. Find another reason, Jiu Yiheng said. He only denied Xu Yang's identity, but there would always be someone in that position. The emotions I had accumulated began to burst out. Just like you said, isn't it good to maintain a distance between men and women? Tang Yan, I'm asking you as an older brother now, Jiu Yiheng said. Then do I have to answer you in the attitude of a younger sister? I retorted. It was so absurd. Late at night, the brother and sister were arguing about their identities. Jiu Yiheng, I never wanted you to be my brother. I said, brother and sister, what a warm word, but it deprived me of the right to love him. When I was emotionally excited, I accidentally knocked over the glass. With a bang, the fragments scattered all over the place between me and Jiu Yiheng. At this moment, I felt that my relationship with him was like this broken glass, which was difficult to repair. Since the day my initial feelings for him began to stir, I had started to anticipate the arrival of this scene. I was barefoot. If I took just one more step forward, the glass shards all over the ground could stab me until I bled. Don't move, Jiu Yiheng said. Jiu Yiheng walked over, stepping on the fragments. As he walked, he unbuttoned his cuff and casually rolled up the sleeve of his forearm twice. Wanting to carry me away from there, my nose felt sour, and I stepped back to avoid his outstretched hand that was going to hug me. He couldn't hug me. Once he hugged me, I would never be able to let go. Jiu Yiheng ignored my struggle, stepped forward, and held my shoulders firmly. Let's stop arguing. Don't move around. He steadily picked me up and walked towards the sofa. My eyelashes drooped, and I had a sad expression. I said in a low voice, Jiu Yiheng, stop caring about me, Tang Yan. Jiu Yiheng furrowed his brows. He was really angry. The atmosphere began to become tense. I remember that from the first day we met, I told you to come to me directly if you had something, to ask directly if you had a problem, and not to guess on your own, Jiu Yiheng said. I had always remembered that. But that was the right of a younger sister, not something that I, who was being greedy at the moment, could have. What about you? He asked. My nose felt sour. I looked at him, raised my face high, and tried not to let the tears fall faster. I don't want to ask. Jiu Yiheng's gaze was on my face. My whole face was red and vulnerable because of the tears. He continued my words. But I do. I want to ask who you were crying for, last night, just now, and at other times and places that I don't know about. Was it me, Tang Yan? Answer me. With each word Jiu Yiheng said, the color drained from my face a little more. He was asking me for an answer. I opened my mouth, trying to explain to him, but my throat seemed to be blocked, and I couldn't say anything. It's the same with moving out. It's the same with drinking, Jiu Yiheng said when he didn't get an answer from me, directly turning the rhetorical questions into statements. He raised my face and gently wiped my tears. He asked casually, do you want to refute? I remained silent and tried to avoid Jiu Yiheng's hand, but his attitude was particularly tough tonight. You're not refuting either. Are you afraid of me? Jiu Yiheng asked. I grabbed the corner of his clothes and shook my head to deny it. Then do you like me? Jiu Yiheng asked. Brother, I said. He put his finger on my lips to stop me from speaking. Tang Yan, all I need is for you to nod. I like you. Jiu Yiheng likes you. Did you hear that, sister? Don't worry. We have plenty of time to work things out. Jiu Yiheng said those lukewarm tough words that day. His implementation of those tough words included but was not limited to. He got off work and went home on time every day. Well, he went back to the place where I lived. He asked Aunt Jiang to go back and take care of our parents, and he cooked and was in charge of my 3 meals a day. He often showed obvious courtship intentions in his behavior, for example, using the height difference. He cornered me on the sofa, in the kitchen, in every corner where I couldn't run away, and asked me, sister, do you want a hug? I refused. Then he softened his voice and tempted me. Sister, it's just a hug. I agreed. He took advantage of my consent, buried his face in my neck, and let out a sigh. So good. Day by day, I don't know how long I can hold on, although I don't understand why I'm trying to hold on either, until I saw what he wrote. January 26, 2018, I have a new sister named Tang Yan. Her name sounds nice. She called me brother as soon as we met and stuck to me, refusing to leave. Maybe kids nowadays aren't shy around strangers. April 22, 2019. Tang Nyan is in the 3rd year of junior high school, and her grades aren't very good. She only got a maximum of 66 points in math. I asked her if it was difficult. She said that it's not really useful to study that well. If you're sold by someone, you'll still have to count the money for them. How pitiful, a lot of fallacies. Christmas Eve in 2019, that little kid Tang Nyan skipped class. She held an apple and ran to my company to find me, saying that she hoped I would always be safe and free from disasters and pain. I asked her where she got the apple, and she said she picked it up on the street. I asked her why she skipped class, and she waved her hand and said that too many people gave her gifts, and she didn't want to accept them, so she skipped class. FLbut I. My office is almost becoming her refuge. 2020. Tang Nyan caught a cold too. She's lost a lot of weight. She didn't gain much weight to begin with. 2021. Tang Nyan is in her senior year of high school. She's becoming more and more silent day by day. I asked her if she wanted to study abroad, as it wouldn't be that hard. She didn't want to. I asked for the reason. She looked at me stubbornly and didn't say a word. For the first time, I felt that raising a child was really troublesome. June 7, 2022. She had an exam, and I was more nervous than she was. October 12, 2022. Tang Nyan has come of age. She wanted a pair of couple watches as a birthday gift, but I refused. She's just turned 18, and it's still too early to be in a relationship. I gave her a car, but she crashed it in the garage the next day. She must be angry. I'm thinking about how to make it up to her, except for buying that pair of couple watches. October 13, 2022, the day after her birthday, I moved my household registration out. I also bought that pair of watches. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm not sure. May 2023, when I came back from a business trip, I found that she seemed to have someone she liked. That person made her very sad. I wanted to hug her, but I'm her older brother. Even though we don't have a blood relationship, I still am. October 2023, I saw her taking stomach medicine. It made me so angry. 2024, I came back from a month-long business trip. As soon as I landed, my secretary told me that she had been to the police station 4 times during this period. On the way to the police station, my hands were shaking all the time. Thankfully, she was okay. March 12, 2024, for her and me, there should be a distinction between men and women. I said this to myself. She looked even sadder than I did. I'm sorry. March 13, 2024, she moved out. June 9, 2024, I couldn't help but call her, but she didn't answer. She got drunk in a bar. She was also bullied and made to cry. 1:00 a.m. June 10, 2024, the guy's name is Zheng Chengxian. I checked the information about his family, and they're all promiscuous. He doesn't even deserve to hold her shoes. 3:00 a.m. June 10, 2024, sister, noon. June 10, 2024, sister said she doesn't know and doesn't like Zheng Chengxian. Evening, June 10, 2024, Xu Yang said sister likes me. I slowly closed the notebook. I had the answer to my previous question. I was holding on because I was afraid that this relationship with completely unequal weight would have no result. I was giving him a chance to change his mind, but now that chance is gone. One day, I clung to a man who had put on an apron and was about to walk into the kitchen like a little tail. While he wasn't paying attention, I hugged him from behind like a bear hug. My laughter that couldn't be hidden filled my ears, and I heard myself asking him, "Brother, do you want to kiss?" Although the food cooked by Jiu Yiheng isn't as delicious as that cooked by Aunt Jiang, he's more delicious than the food. He's much taller than me. When we kiss, he needs to lean down to find my lips, so I don't have to exert so much effort. Sometimes, he doesn't even want to wait for that moment of leaning down. He just picks me up to the level where he can look at me directly. His burning hot palms close in, resting on my waist and the back of my neck. Our lips and tongues are intertwined. And it's hard to tell who desires the other more. The sunlight shines into the room, and I can clearly see my hair strands caught on his shirt, arms, and the abs that are exposed because of his actions. I don't know how long we kissed. During the gap when we took a breath, Jiu Yiheng picked me up and placed me on the dining table. The warmth of our bodies pressed against each other remained the same, but our positions were reversed. Now I was looking down at him from a higher position. And the control was also quietly changing hands. In the kiss between lovers, using my identity as a sister, I softly asked him for encouragement. "Brother, am I good?" "Yeah, such a good sister." Gu Ehung's voice when praising me is in a cold tone, but his response makes me feel hot all over. "Tang Nyan, don't look at me with that kind of gaze." He reached out and covered my eyes. I leaned back slightly to avoid his hand and pretended not to know. "What kind of gaze?" "Sister, don't touch randomly," he said. "You're lying," I retorted. "Yeah, brother is lying," he admitted. Someone took photos of Gu Ehung and me being intimate and posted them online. Because of our appearance and the step-sibling relationship, it caused a heated discussion, and the comments were polarized. "So disgusting, I can't accept it at all. I can't accept it even if there's no blood relationship." To be fair, the way the brother looks at the sister is so exciting. Pseudo-incest, it's a masterpiece. Shortly after, someone else exposed that I had beaten someone in the street relying on my powerful background. A couple recorded a video and posted it online to accuse me. I was walking on the street that day and had a small argument with my wife. We had a few words. And she was unhappy with me and rushed up and slapped me twice and gave me a beating. My wife was shouting beside me to make her stop, but she instead scolded my wife, asking if she had water in her brain. Finally, the couple cried and asked netizens, "When will justice that comes late arrive?" In the comment section, other victims also appeared, and two of them even attached injury verification certificates. The public opinion immediately leaned to one side. And there were all kinds of scolding towards me, Gu Ehung, and my whole family. Even the company's shareholders called one after another to question us. Gu Ehung found me the first time and wanted to take my phone away. "Brother, I've already seen it," I said. He hugged me in his arms to soothe me. "Are you sad?" "It's okay. They didn't scold the right things," I replied. "Just because I care about it doesn't mean Gu Ehung feels the same way as me. But I'm very sad. My sister did a good deed but was framed as a bad person. I've already asked someone to deal with this matter. The popularity will go down, and the photos will be removed, but that video won't be taken down. We'll keep it as evidence. Also, those who scolded you will all receive the company's lawyer's letter. Nyen Nyen, will you hesitate because of this incident before doing a good deed in the future?" Gu Ehung held my face and asked me. I answered decisively, "No. I'll step forward when there's something to do and fight against the villains. Anyway, my brother will protect me." My answer was within his expectations. He gently kissed me and praised me. "What a great sister." The company's public relations counterattacked very quickly and powerfully, and they took out the case records stored in the police station. Time, February 15, 2024. Location, Jeanby Road. Party involved, because he beat his wife in the street. And the enthusiastic Lady Tang Nyan stepped in to help. Time, March 8, 2024. Reporter, Tang Nyan, because two men had indecent intentions towards her. The policewoman who had helped me many times also appeared on camera to help me explain. In just one day, because of the rapid reversal and the slapping of faces, it caused a great stir online. The netizens followed the trend and swayed from one side to the other. After swaying back and forth, they gave up and stopped, crossing their legs to see how it would develop in the end. When the matter was finally settled, they would say, "See, I already said she didn't seem like that kind of person," as if they had never participated in the previous scolding. As for the mastermind behind this online violence against me and Gu Ehung, it was Zheng Chengxian. He asked the big V cultivated by their family's company to post the photos and also bought internet trolls to fan the flames in the comments. The reason he gave was that Gu Ehung had snatched his woman, that is, me, in front of his cronies. I was speechless for a moment. Gu Ehung was so angry that he asked people to find evidence of the things Zheng Chengxian had done before and took the initiative to find the victims and said that he could help them file a lawsuit for free. Anyway, Zheng Chengxian and the other participants from the Zheng family who should receive punishment wouldn't be able to escape. Oh. And that couple and the two men who attempted indecency just saw that the online public opinion was unfavorable to me and followed suit to step on me, hoping to bring me down. The above was all small potatoes for me. The following was the real big scene. Nyen nyen. Did that brat deceive you? Father Gu's anger was about to overflow from the phone. Dad, it's not like that. How could I explain to Father Gu that I had my eyes on his son first? Father Gu said, Nyen nyen, don't be afraid. Dad will go back now and break his legs. Dad, please listen to my explanation. Nyen nyen, you don't need to speak up for him. Break his legs. Break his legs. While I was trying my best to save Gu Iheng's legs on my side, on his side, Iheng, Mother Gu said, Mom, Gu Iheng replied, I'm very relieved that Nyen Nyen is with you, but don't spoil her too much, especially when it comes to being picky about food. That's absolutely not allowed. It was all peaceful and quiet on his side. Extra story. I looked up at the man who was working seriously at the desk. The black shirt was buttoned up meticulously to the top. He was wearing glasses on his tall and straight nose. The cufflinks were loosely unbuttoned, revealing a section of his cold white wrist bone. His fingers were well defined at the joints, and the veins on the back of his hand were raised. He held a pen and signed one signature after another. It was very pleasing to the eye. But I was almost furious and had no mood to admire him. I questioned him. Gu Iheng, did you lift me out of bed early in the morning just to let me watch you work? Hearing this, Gu Iheng raised his head, took off his glasses, looked at me, and there was a faint smile on his lips. He leaned back leisurely. Call me brother, he said. Is that the point? I exploded with anger and gave him a glare. Gu Iheng stood up, walked in front of me, and leaned down to look at me at the same level. Do you want a hug? He opened his arms towards me. No. I turned my head to the side, crossed my arms, and put on a full show of being angry. He laughed, took my hand, and gently tickled my palm. Tang Nyan, your daily routine is too chaotic. This won't do. I'm on vacation, I said confidently. Trying to pull my hand back from his, he wouldn't let go. I'll take you out to play in the afternoon. Can you stay with brother for a while longer now? Gu Iheng stroked my head from time to time. And it felt very comfortable. My anger from getting up was slightly soothed by him. I took a step back and negotiated with him. Then you can't drag me out of bed at 7:30 next time. Okay, he also compromised. The next second, the corners of his lips curled into a smile. Then can I hug you? As he said this, he had already enclosed me in his arms. He even picked me up and walked towards his desk. The direction made me a bit flustered. My still sore waist made me forget to be angry with him. Brother, Gu Iheng looked down at me, his eyes asking what was wrong. Do you plan to work while holding me like this? I asked. He didn't think there was anything wrong with it at all. Is there a problem? I didn't dare to say there was a problem. But out of concern for myself, I confirmed again. Just work. He glanced at me with a smile and held me even tighter. You can do other things too if you want. Just kidding. I quickly waved my hand to refuse. I can't. You should work quickly, I said. Gu Iheng worked, and I scrolled through short videos to find inspiration. But as I scrolled, the tags of the videos changed. They somehow changed from the art and emotion category to handsome men with abs. I didn't dare to be too obvious. I glanced at the man who was concentrating on his work, put on my headphones, and secretly watched the videos sideways. I don't know how long I was engrossed in watching, anyway. When I found myself sitting on the desk in his arms, I was stunned. Gu Iheng took off my headphones, slowly leaned close to me, and asked, Sister, are his abs good looking? I felt extremely guilty looking at the emotions in his eyes and shook my head frantically. They're not good looking, I don't like them. They're not as sexy as yours. Gu Iheng bit my earlobe as a punishment. Really, his voice was low, and he asked me with his lips close to mine, but he blocked my mouth, not allowing me to speak. Then, Gu Iheng guided my fingertips to land on his Adam's apple. The Adam's apple rolled up and down as I touched it. Then, slowly, it moved down. Nyen Nyen, help me unbutton it, he said. He's always like this. When it's not important, it's Tang Nyan, and when he needs something, it's Nyen Nyen. This damn man. I trembled and unbuttoned the first button. He looked down at me and let out a soft laugh. Keep going, he said. He looked abstinent yet sensual. And his whole aura was extremely contradictory. I followed his words and unbuttoned the second and third buttons with some difficulty. His collarbone was revealed. The collarbone groove was very deep, and there was a faint tooth mark in an arc on the left side. I had bitten it out of anger last night, the fourth button. My heart was pounding like a drum. I couldn't take it anymore. I withdrew the hand that was about to unbutton the fourth button, tilted my head back, and pleaded with him. Brother, you said you'd take me out to play this afternoon. I tilted my head back a bit too much, and Gu Eheng instinctively supported the back of my neck with his hand to keep my neck from getting sore. His strength was gentle and careful, but the way he hugged me was one of absolute possession. He said, "Yeah, I promised you." Before I could heave a sigh of relief, Gu Eheng changed the subject. "But, Nyen, it's only 11 o'clock now." I saw the intensity in his eyes and felt intimidated. I wrapped my hands around his neck, buried my face in his neck, and like an ostrich, retorted in a muffled voice, "No, I'm hungry and I want to eat." Gu Eheng pulled me into his arms, gently turned my face towards him, and asked, "Then will you still look at other men?" I shook my head desperately. "No, I won't." Taking advantage of the situation, he continued to ask, "What about getting up early?" This was a matter of principle, and I wasn't going to back down. I asked aggressively, "Is 8 o'clock okay?" Gu Eheng looked down at me amusedly, gently bit my lip, and asked, "Where's your backbone?" For the sake of being able to stand and have a good time this afternoon, I could put aside my backbone for the moment. Just as I was about to jump down, Gu Eheng held me down. While I was tilting my head back to question him, he pried open my lips and tongue and continuously occupied the territory. I resisted, but I still involuntarily surrendered inch by inch. He reached out and held down my legs that were kicking around randomly, and said in a hoarse voice, "Sister, help me." When I was carried into the restroom, I thought, is it still too late to run away? Click. The door was quickly locked from the inside. Being sensible, I tugged at the corner of his clothes and pleaded softly, "Brother, at the latest, let me go and eat at 12:30. Okay, it depends on your performance." Gu Eheng, you son of a bitch. Yeah, Gu Eheng. You're worse than a beast. Keep scolding. Gu Eheng, be gentle. I can't be gentle. Woohoo. Brother, you don't love me anymore. When did he come back? Beast, I want to break up with you. Darling, don't shake when you talk. Brother, I was wrong. I love you. I love you so much. Let's not break up, baby. Why don't you want to break up anymore? No breaking up. I won't break up even if I die. I had just pulled away a bit when he pulled me back. I was exhausted. I glanced at the clock on the wall. The hour hand was gradually pointing at 1 o'clock. Me, just let it all be destroyed. The end.